Wonderful day, everybody. My name is Christina Marie, and I am the host of Magic Weavers Wisdom Keepers. And I'm really excited today and super stoked to be bringing one of my dear friends and soul sisters, Laurel Sabur. She is a meditation teacher, she is a social entrepreneur, and a spiritual medium and intuitive, and she has an incredible business that really it's so diverse and so beautiful. She incorporates travel, wellness, like self-care stuff. So I'm going to just take a moment to let her fully introduce herself because she does so many incredible things that have such a beautiful impact. So I'd love for you to share with us a little bit, Laurel, about what your business is and who you are.
Thank you, Christina. Thanks a lot for having me on this, having this connection with you to share more about myself. So I am the founder of Oluchi Nayaa Global Lifestyles. Oluchi is my middle name and also my spiritual name. And under my business is a beautiful space for you to be supported mind, body, and spirit. So we focus on spiritual wellness through meditation, through energy work, galactic energy healing work, through self-development coaching. And then we also support individuals to explore their inner worlds in relation to their outer worlds through travel. So having beautiful travel retreats. And then lastly, we support individuals to support their bodies with sacred ornaments, sacred clothing, sacred jewelry that holds a frequency to support you to be anchored in your own power.
Yeah, your clothing and your jewelry are just like powerful talismans and like catalysts that help people really kind of step into their power. I'd love for you to share a little bit about that, what your favorite part is about that piece, that element of your business.
Yeah, so for my clothing, the clothing and jewelry, we have them made in Ghana, West Africa. They're designed here in Canada, and we work with the makers in Ghana to have the most appropriate material. Most of them are made from raw materials. So our jewelries are made from sand, so sand beads, grass, and then we also have our clothing, which is designed here in Canada and then made by amazing women in Ghana, West Africa. Now, in terms of the power and the spiritual essence behind it, essentially, we focus on really bringing pieces that have not only creativity, but pieces that can help to embrace the traditions of African kingdoms, African practices. And so when you hold some of these pieces, you feel that power, you feel that connection to Mother Earth. Some of our customers who have worn some of our kimonos feel more in alignment with their own divine power. They just feel amazingly powerful. I don't know if I can say freaking powerful, but they feel freaking powerful when I put on the kimono. So some customers wear kimonos in spiritual ceremonies and just really in spaces that they really want to own their divine essence.
Yes. Oh, yes. And you were visiting here, well, in Kelowna when I was living there, but you came and visited me and I learned and I got to experience one of the fashion shows that you were in and see your art and your creativity and that passion, and you stand in your power, like in that radiance. It was so incredible to see that element of your business because I knew about the meditation and the spiritual medium and all of that, the energy healing and stuff, but I had a little bit of a glimpse, but to see that whole world of watching, and like you said, some of my favorite parts were saying when you were saying witnessing people that have that insecurity or have a little bit of that stuff to like put on the clothing and to feel that confidence. So
yeah, and that's one of the pieces that really brings me joy, is to see someone fully shift into their own power and confidence. And it's interesting because it's not all clothing that does that, but when people feel connected to the creativity and the colors and the fabrics,
Yeah,
and the energy that we infuse in our clothing, they have no other choice but to really embrace and love themselves.
absolutely. Yeah, that was my favorite. Watching you watch that, and also just to see, there was that little girl, like just the pieces, it was just so beautiful. And I feel like that kind of really beautifully ties into your topic. So your
Mhm.
topic is like moving from not enough to owning and embodying enough. Like I am enough.
Yeah.
And I'd love for you to talk to us a little bit about why that topic feels so prominent today for people who are listening.
Yeah, we most of us have grown up in societies that have conditioned us to believe that we need something outside of ourselves to have value. So we need to have a specific job. I need to have specific number of education degrees behind our names, titles, and so we've been clinging onto the external world to have value. And so now when we're going through this unprecedented changes in our world where people are losing their jobs, people are losing all these external things that once um, gave them value, you are realizing that most people are handling this in a very difficult way. This is where anxiety is coming up. And so I went through my own process of self-reflection, also being challenged with, um, you know, just knowing that I was always associating my value with my job title and um, achievements. And I got to a place in my life where I realized that if I did not make a shift from really valuing my doing into valuing my being, I would have kind of ended up in a deeper hole of depression.
Mhm.
And so it was through a lot of inner work and self-reflection and meditation that I ended up realizing that there is so much value in simply being, came into this world as a being, and that in of itself is enough. So me sitting here without even with my business or without my business, being able to sit here and saying I'm enough is very powerful. And I think for a lot of people, if we can sit in that space and own it, day by day, you'll experience immense amount of shifts and changes in your entire life.
I love that so much. It's so powerful. It's such a powerful topic because I also spent a lot of my life feeling like, I had to be more, do more, this, when I have this, then I'll feel this, or when I achieve this, then I'll be happy, then I'll have this sense of I have arrived, or this sense of connection. And the thing is, what I've learned is that there's always something more, as we're
Mhm.
growing and evolving, there's still going to be more shifts. So what you're saying, and what I really have found on my journey of like self-acceptance and just really owning my worth and my value, is in our beingness is where so much more. Because I don't know about you, but I used to really even struggle with like rest and slowing down and taking time for that self-care. And I'm sure so many people listening feel that too, right? We feel like, you know we should be doing more. That whole idea of this sense of obligation, or this feeling like when we're resting, which is where our bodies reset, rejuvenate, and actually heal. you
Mm.
know um when our mind is saying we should be doing something else, we're
Yeah.
actually not giving our body the chance to recalibrate and catch up. And so learning to give yourself permission to be, you know,
Yeah.
go for a walk, to have a bath, to slow down. I know so many women and people in general, just people in the community, that actually struggle with just being present. So I'd love for you to
Mhm.
talk about that a little bit if you can.
Yeah, I think, and this is why this is the gift of meditation. In a practice of a guided meditation, you're invited to really embrace the moment of being. So and with more practice of meditation, you really shift your addictive thinking habits. So actually you shift from having an addiction to thinking to really just embracing that space of the space between our thoughts, that space where we can relax, that space where we can be present, that space where our bodies get to rejuvenate. And I found that the more we embrace this, the value of being, is we become more clear on the things that we choose to do. So quite often when we're so caught up in the spiral of doing, we are continuously doing things that don't feed us, don't give us joy. We're continuously doing things to check things off. We're continuing to do things from a place of fear, from a place of fear of losing out on something. And so we're never ever really giving ourselves permission to be anchored in the seat of our soul. And so the practice of being and valuing being, it's tough. You know, I'm not gonna say that tomorrow you're gonna just be like in a space of being and be okay with it. It's gonna be tough, especially if you've been one of those, doers. It's gonna be tough. But once you recognize that, you know what, there is a value of just simply being enough in this moment without any external frills. And the more you practice that and be comfortable with that, you will have more clarity on how your soul wants to express in this world, which is not, that becomes your place of doing. So you shift now from, instead of do, be, have, you now shift into be, do, have. So you shift from a place of being, expressing into the world, taking action, and then having experiences that your soul desires.
Love it. Woo! I love it so much. And when we're residing in that space of being too, we are also magnetic, right? Because there's the difference between the yin and the yang energy, the masculine and the feminine energy. And masculine energy is actually like very much that forward. It's that giving, right? And the being is more of like the receiving. It's more the receptive. So there's this dance happening, and when we're allowing ourselves to be more receptive to receive, it's magnetizing, right? And so yeah, when you think of that, there's times to take action, and there's times that we need the ebb and flow. And so many people in our society, like you were saying, we're kind of conditioned to have to keep going, the next thing, all these achievements. And I also work with a lot of people who are that kind of A-type personality, who are go-getters, high achievers and stuff. And for them to learn how to slow down, but that's where creativity and inspiration comes in, and all sorts of different things that most people don't even recognize, that it is in that stillness, in that beingness, where all that stuff comes through. And that's why I love the work that you do. And actually I'd love to talk a little bit about how we met. So there was we went to a women's circle that was facilitated by one of our sisters in the community in Edmonton, Susanna. And we were all in process and going through this piece, and then we were all doing the sharing part, and Laurel shared something that like really touched my soul. And she was talking about her experience and some of the images that came through, and she mentioned the ocean, and I just felt there's few people that move my soul in certain ways, and there was something very powerful and unique about her expression. And I went up to her after, and we started connecting. And I really love the depth and the insight and the wisdom that you possess within you. And part of Magic Weaver's Wisdom Keepers philosophy is that each individual, everyone, has our collective life experience, and through our journey of discovering ourselves and coming in healing and on our spiritual awakening, it's like we all have so much wisdom and insight to offer others who are on their journey. So I'd love for you to share a little bit about what you remember from that night, from our meeting, if anything has come up.
Yeah, I think yeah, no, I always enjoy when you remind me of that moment, because, yeah, you and I have a very special connection with the ocean, and it's something that, from a spiritual perspective, the ocean has so much to teach us. The ocean is expansive. It also has depth, and it is also home to so many beings, so many known and unknown beings, right? And it's such a beautiful. It's always, whenever I tune in with the ocean, it's that's how, what I feel consciousness is, or what the universe really is: a space of known and unknown, a space of expansiveness, a space of depth. And so, um, yeah, if I recall correctly from that event, I was in a space where, in deep meditation, I felt connected to these ocean beings that I've never seen before. So, and they were just really sharing with me their love, and just really presenting themselves with love. And, yeah, as I mentioned, I don't know what they are, but I
Yeah.
just know that they were a part of the ocean. And ever since then, I mean, I've always been connected with the ocean, but even more, my connection is becoming more apparent, where there is a give and receive, where I can communicate with the ocean and the ocean communicates with me. And so, it's one of the most special relationships I have, where she teaches me quite a bit, and we just sit and we commune. And I bring that into my work. So in a lot of my meditations, I guide people into the ocean or by the ocean to receive the medicine that the ocean has to give. So that's very much intertwined in a lot of my work. In my energy clearing work, I also bring in the ocean frequency. So I channel the ocean frequency along with galactic energy healing. And it really helps to amplify the experience and the ascension process that my clients have. In fact, actually, just sitting here, I didn't know we are going to talk about the ocean, but I'll share with you how much I love the ocean. Um, so this,
Yes.
on my work desk, I have just some corals and, shells, and this is like a clamshell, but
Yeah.
I really try to keep. I have I have so many pieces from oceans, and this was a friend of mine gave this as a gift to me. She collected these from Newfoundland, which is the eastern part of Canada, and yeah, I really try to tune in with the frequency. So it's not just a matter of the visual, but there is a healing energy that when you really tune in with it, and if you have the ability to tune in with it, it's quite powerful.
Oh, for sure. It's incredibly powerful. I've always had I love that, and I love that you're surrounded. Of course you are. That doesn't surprise me. Um yeah, and that when you shared about those beings, and I immediately, because I had a very similar uh experience, and then that piece just like connected. um I've always had an affinity with water, and it's interesting because I'm a fire sign. And but there's always been this profound connection. And actually, I just moved to Vancouver about 2 weeks ago now. Time is flying. To be closer to the ocean and the old growth rainforest. And there's just something that, not only spiritually but energetically, that happens to my field when I'm close to water. Even when I was living in the Okanagan, being by the waterfalls and the ocean, or the lakes, and the rivers, and finding all these streams and stuff like that. You and I went on some adventures, and it was really incredible because you and I were sitting by the lake the one night, and we were both really tuning in, and the water was responding, and it was really beautiful. And I feel like people don't recognize how like water's programmable, not only, but it just absorbs and holds so much. And not only is it a purifier, but it's an amplifier, and it works in so many ways. And I love that you made that connection. Literally, water connects the entire world. like water, whether it's the ocean, but in some way, without water there wouldn't be life. Like even us, like we're 70% of water, like,
Yeah.
and that's how we, it's so, there's so many layers to this stuff. I don't know if we're going to go totally there on this call for the people watching, but you can, for anyone that is empathetic and intuitive and sensitive, can feel that. And I encourage people to start playing with water, whether it's in your bath, like doing ritual bath, blessing your water, you know, just like charging it, energizing it. There's so many different practices. And when we acknowledge that water is life and water is sacred, water is holy, like there's a reason we talk about this stuff, because it literally, without water on this planet there would be no life. So it is the connecting essence across the globe, like, and that's powerful if you think about it. If you think about that, that's the part that in some of my spiritual experiences that have just blown my mind, of, like you're saying, like the depths and the expansiveness and just like the rejuvenate, like it just, oh, and like being near the ocean now. I went swimming the other day and I'm like, wow, like no one's swimming and I'm in there swimming. I don't care. Like it's so, like, just everything about it. It's just like so purifying and amplifying. So yeah, that was, it connected us, and I love that. And Susanna, she's definitely a mermaid too. And you know, it's just fascinating, like those threads that weave people's path at different times. And
Yeah, and you know, for me, how I start my morning is I actually, so I have, well, I have a big bottle of water every day.
yeah.
This is 2 liters, but I activate my water with my galactic energy healing. And what it does is it really vibrates, it raises the vibration of the water. So I'm not yet living by the ocean, but living where I live right now, which is in Edmonton, Alberta, which is landlocked. You know, our water may not necessarily be at a, as a high vibration that you would really want it to be. And so if you live anywhere, that wherever you would live in the world, whether it's by water or far from water, I do encourage people to really raise the vibration of the water, because it is such an essential element for our bodies, having 70% of it. So yeah, I could talk about water all day long, because I think it's such a powerful medium to store energy. You know, there's lots of scientific studies that talk about the water molecules, how it changes based on the vibration that it's exposed to. So yeah, so water, the ocean is something that I very much I'm connected to. I've recently been blessed with the indigenous medicine name of Dreaming Ocean Woman. Yeah. When I was given that name, it resonated with me in all ways, and it was just like, yeah, it makes sense. So yeah,
that's so you. I love it. And I'd love to like when we were sitting at the lake that night, what was some of your senses and your impressions that the water gifted you in that moment?
So we spent a couple of days by the lake, or different lakes, which was awesome. You know, it's interesting because the water, when I was there with you, somehow I could feel it was speaking louder to me, right? And a lot of the times, the message is always, you are enough, right? So it's no surprise that my topic is continuously really anchoring that knowing that I am enough, and sharing that with others, because people don't hear that in enough, right? People don't say it to themselves, they don't believe it, they don't hear it enough, because they're continuously just trying to be more. And so that was actually the most resounding message coming from the water, was like, you are enough. So I was sitting there and the water is like coming towards me, and receding, coming towards me. And that was it. It was like, you are enough. We are here. Um, so, and a feeling of being safe and supported by the water. Um, it's always a message to say I'm being supported by the water, and also a message that I'm being supported by other spiritual worlds. I'm not here doing this journey alone, and it's important for me, and it's something that I've had to practice, is leaning into that support that we
Yeah.
have. Because I'm a little bit, I used to be a little bit more on the A type, where I felt like I had to do everything myself, and have to figure shit out. And yeah, the message from the ocean is always a feeling of I'm supported.
Mm, that's so beautiful. I
Mm-hmm.
love that. It's so true, and that's what I encourage people to do too, is to recognize how much support is ever present, like, and until we really open ourselves up and ask for that, like, there's that energy of free will choice, and when we're in our own will, and not opening up to the possibilities, so like our own is very limited, right? My own power, but as soon as I become a channel and I open up and I connect to the earth and the elements. And that's something also that I really resonated with you, is your the way you, it's rare, right? So like the way you are like in tune with the elemental wisdom, and that's something that really spoke to me, because I also work with the elements in so many ways, and in essence we are the elements. We're working with the elements all the time, whether we're conscious of it or not. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's very profound when we awaken to that reality, because then it starts to activate that within us, and without, as above, that so below, so within, so without. So it's like it all starts to interact and engage with us differently the moment that we bring our awareness to it, just like with
Yeah.
meditation, right? Once you,
Yeah, a lot of us we forget, we often operate from, most people operate from a linear perspective, and only seeing life through a very narrow perspective. But the truth is that there are gazillions of worlds that we can interact with, the elementals being one. But there's gazillions of worlds, and the more we tune in with our bodies, tune in with our ability to feel, hear, and see, is the more we have that opportunity to explore and interact with these other worlds that want to support us, they want to help nourish us. And I think that's a very important awareness for us to have, because, as I said, we are, for the most part, we limit our perspective on where we can find support. um, and so, yeah, the elementals are just amazing and magical and pure. And there's always unconditional love, because it's always within the human construct that we have conditions. We have these conditions of what is enough and what is not enough. But when you tune in with the other worlds, you get that feeling of, what it feels like to just simply be enough, because there's no conditions there.
mm, I
Mm-hmm.
love it. I love it. And it's, oh, this stuff, it's incredible. This is life, right? um yeah, and so with that understanding, and the work that you do, so I'd love for you to kind of like expand on kind of like your current projects. What are you working on, like, knowing, weaving all of this insight, your life experience, what are you passionate about right now, and helping.
Yeah, thank you. So, um, I have been supporting individuals in reclaiming their power. Especially since this whole COVID thing started, I really felt called to support people's spiritual wellness. And so it started out with meditation. Then then it transitioned into a more structured program where meditation was a tool, and some emotional coaching was another tool, visualization, sound healing, energy healing coming into play. And so I'm now at the end of wrapping up my second cohort, my second group for the Reclaiming Your Power program. And then which is available, so the content and stuff is available. And then I recently felt more called to now create a space to embody your power. So reclaiming your power is really pulling back all the shattered pieces that we've lost of ourselves due to certain experiences that we've had, so trauma, whether it's childhood trauma or trauma that you've had in your adulthood, or simply you feeling insecure, not fully confident of yourself. And we, from those places of victimhood, we've kind of given away our power. So the reclaiming your power journey is like pulling back those pieces back into our being. And then now the third cohort, embodying your power, is now really embodying all those pieces that you have reclaimed.
Mm-hmm.
So this is starting on October 12th. And this journey is a 6 weeks journey, very similar to the Reclaiming Your Power program, where you are guided in a meditation every day. And each of the meditations have specific visualizations to help activate energetic centers in your body. And then you are also supported with emotional coaching. So coaching to really help deepen reflections on yourself and heal, and really just be more restored and anchored in your essence. So that's my major project, because there's been so many successes from the Reclaiming Your Power, and I would say that I always go on the journey with my participants. It's just simply a way for me to deepen my own practice, right? So I'm looking forward to the Embody Your Power, really looking forward to like just standing in my power unapologetically, even more, standing in my power, radiating my gifts without conditions.
Love it. Yeah. And that's incredible, because you and I work in very similar ways, and that's what I really resonated with you. And it's so empowering to call back those pieces and to really shift that narrative and shift the way that our beingness is absorbing, and and I find it interesting, especially with trauma, and especially with some of those deep cultural wounds and things that over like generations, like we as an individuals now in this moment carry so much, and oftentimes a lot of it's not even our own, right? It's in our family lineage, it's stuff that's just been handed down, and so the work of reclaiming power and to really discover and uncover what's ours and what's not is such a powerful journey of coming home to yourself and to finally really having that sovereignty. Because I don't know about you, but for most of my life, I held on to so much stuff, and it was really hard for me to show up in the way that I wanted to have a voice, to physically be able to stand unapologetically, like you're saying. Like, it's such a journey for most people, and to not have the tools or the conversations, and sometimes something will be triggered, and it makes no logical sense because it's not ours, right? And you and I had some really powerful conversations about that when we were visiting and spending time together.
Yeah, because when we're born into this world, sovereignty, unfortunately, is not something that we are given the permission to embody from the moment we are born. It's unfortunate that for I would say majority of humans, sovereignty is something that we sometimes have to fight for, strive for, simply because as children we not only absorb the emotions of others, but we are taught to be inferior as it relates to our relationship with adults. So we absorb people's emotions, we absorb stuff that are not ours, and that somehow that influences and shapes the personalities that we have, shapes the experiences that we have, the patterns that we have. And it is peeling back those layers that we're able to really reclaim ourselves, reclaim that sovereignty. And then once we're able to reclaim, it then now shifts into embodying that sovereignty, because we are sovereign beings. You know, we are actually born sovereign. It's just that for many people, we don't grow up in an environment that nourishes that sovereignty.
Yes, it's so true. It's so true. Innately, that's the beauty of it. It's like it's unlearning, unprogramming, and then like choosing that not only like it's like really encoding your true essence back into your beingness, and you're reconnecting with that innocence and that childlike awe, what and wonder, and your imagination, and just your self-expression and your creativity, because that stuff has always been there. And that's something that what part of my messaging too is like our true soul essence is just has been waiting to be rediscovered, and just is ready to be overflowing. And so within that stillness and that beingness is where we tap into that, right? Because it's not out there. And I feel like so many people get caught up in that trying to seek. Like, I'm a seeker, don't get me wrong, but I've had to learn that it is through residing in that spaciousness of like infinite possibility is where we really start to tap in and tune into so much more, and then the rest of it just shows up, right? It's like then as we're on our outward journey, it just like boom 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 boom, it starts to line up, because we're operating from a different place. We're not operating from a place of clinging and trying to pull in. It's just operating from a place of allowing and magnetizing. So it's so interesting, and I love this stuff.
Yeah, and I actually recently started to realize you've been using the word, instead of magnetizing, I've been using the word radiating, because our experiences, when we stop to cling, and we're embodying our power, we are able to radiate our essence, and it is through those radiations that we have the experiences that match up with our soul's frequency. So, and also too, when I think about radiating, it gives me the power. It is telling me that I am the source. I am the source of my experiences, right? So yeah, that's just an interesting shift that I've made over the past couple months.
I love it. That's really beautiful. So yeah, where do we want to journey now? So yeah, during our adventures, we both had some really beautiful experiences, particularly at Okanagan Falls. That's where we went on the last day. And there was that land was very special. Not only was the land very special, but there was a lot happening, and a lot of really beautiful acknowledgement. And when you were sharing about your journey, your experience with the ocean or the lake, when it was communicating, and I felt very similar in the sense that when we were sitting there together, there was like an awareness of like there was so much gratitude. It was like, yeah, you're both coming home. Mm-hmm. And it was responding, and I could feel it, and there was a lot of messages. But then when we were at Okanagan Falls, again, there was a lot of acknowledgement, and you had some powerful experiences too. And prior to that, actually, one of the nights was when I was like, we're going to create something together. It was just like, we're creating something together. There's a reason this is all happening. And yeah, I just there's power in coming together and working with certain energies, because like everyone's different, and I really love that. And so I'd love for you to kind of delve into the piece of where you're at with your work within your spiritual mediumship, and kind of like, kind of talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so My mediumship is who I am. So what I mean by that is I do find that I am a natural connector of people and connector of worlds.
Mhm.
And so I really enjoy um, mediating between spaces. And so when I'm working with humans, individuals, I support people to connect with their loved ones or to connect with God, um, to transmute them or to really transmit the messages that needs to come through for them. And oftentimes it's around messages that will support their natural, they're unfolding in this journey. For love, people who want to connect with their loved ones, it's not something that I do for every client, but I try to support clients if I feel that there is a loved one of a frequency that I would like to connect with. I will bring them in. And sometimes the loved ones may have messages of love and just reminding the person who I'm reading for how much they're loved and supported. And there may be sometimes apologies coming through. So loved ones, wanting to apologize for experiences that they may have had when they were um, incarnated. And also to the messages that may come through are from different goddesses that I work with. So whether it's Isis or Sekhmet or goddesses that want to come in and provide some of their insights, I allow myself to be an open channel for them to speak through me. Um, and Yeah, it's pretty fun. I think the mediumship and intuitive work is really interesting because every time I have a session with someone, there's always something for me to learn as well. So a reading session is different for everyone. It could include diving into your current life journey. It could include looking into your physical ailments, communicating with your body, allowing your body to speak through me to share what kind of nourishment your body is asking for, um, where you are going in terms of where you are right now, what's a possible future, because there's no guaranteed future.
Right.
And then all these insights may support the best action for you to take in your life
Mhm.
to support yourself.
It's
Yeah.
incredible. So, yeah, and like we were journeying through some of these pieces and some of the experiences that we shared together. And we dreamed up a women's retreat that we're going to be facilitating in
Yeah.
Edmonton, Alberta.
Yeah.
And so that's November 27th to 30th. So it's a 3-day transformative container. And so it's called Embody Illumination. And we're both going to be facilitating pieces around really tuning in and tapping in, like finding that inner power, that inner resource, and learning to work with elemental wisdom and work with the realms. And like we both operate in different ways. And that's what's really beautiful to create this bridge of synergy, because I feel like, yeah, we both teach in different ways. And I think that's the beauty piece is our strengths, to have that collaborative effort. And so yeah, I'm really excited because I feel like now more than ever, as the veils are thinning, as people are waking up, as this global dark night of the soul with COVID, and people just having to meet themselves in ways that perhaps they never have. You know, people like us who've been on the journey, who've done a lot of inner healing, and um, I feel very anchored and connected amidst all this chaos and this uncertainty. And I feel very blessed, but I also know that there are so many people that are struggling and suffering right now. And the work that we do, the work that you do is so necessary and so important and impactful. And for us to keep anchored and to keep being that beacon of light and beacon of hope more than anything, to say that no matter what you're going through, no matter how much fear has happened, like there's such valid pieces that people are struggling with. Like there's a lot of people coping with mental health. There's just addictions. There's the suicide rate has gone up. It's like really sad how many people are, they don't have the tools. They don't have the tools. They don't know how to regulate their emotions, to self-soothe, to connect to something greater, to work with the elements. They have no idea. And I know what that felt like. And so that's why I'm so passionate about this work, is because I, in many ways, spent a lot of my life so full of fear, so full of self-doubt, so full of just allowing the mind to control and consume. And so part of the vision is to create spaces, like the work that I do with women is help them meet themselves, and meet themselves in a container that feels supportive and nurturing and inspiring and uplifting, where they can drop the masks and just be their authentic self and feel that love. And you and I both are all about embodiment. And so that illumination piece came through, because we will, that the retreat at the end of November, it's kind of like coming closing out this 2020 year, which is all about like vision and hindsight and perspective and looking at really what's going on during this unprecedented time. Like there's never been a time like this. And so yeah, I'd love for you to kind of build on that, like why you feel like this experience would be very transformative for women, and maybe for people that are seeking something, you know?
Yeah, because there's so much going on, so much unknowns, and as you said, this has triggered quite a bit of mental health issues. And mental health doesn't necessarily, when we say mental health issues, it doesn't mean being diagnosed with a specific thing, but really just having your mind has been very unsettled, and it is natural for a mind to be unsettled when there's so much unknowns. And so, having a space where we can really just drop into our bodies, allow our minds to rest, restore ourselves, connect with our souls, is a space that so many people will benefit from. So I'm very excited to create this space with you, Christina. I think it's going to be a very powerful space, a space for people to just to breathe, literally
Yes.
breathe, like taking a deep breath. And it's interesting, the name illumination is so fitting, because we'll be coming more and more to the end of 2020, and within the time where, in some parts of the world we'll have shorter days. So it's really around anchoring ourselves into bringing more light into our lives. And so the 2020 has been a very interesting year for everyone. Some people have experienced high highs, some people have experienced low lows, and this retreat is a year for us to really take a review of the journey of 2020. This is 2020 is a year that we have never experienced in human history, right? Like, let's take a moment for that. We've never experienced something like this in human history, whereby the top scientists, these top professionals are still in a space of unknown. We're not yet near, I guess that's I don't know. We're still waiting for a big shift to happen. And so I think the timing of the retreat is a time for us to make that shift for ourselves internally, for us to embrace 2021 with more power, more clarity, more support from the elementals, from the waters, from the support from your own spirit guides, the support from your own higher self. And so 2021 is going to be an amazing year. And regardless of what's happening in our external world, so being anchored and centered in us, we can declare that we will be prepared for 2021. And not only prepared by fixing ourselves, right? But embodying who we are, embodying our divine essence, embodying that illumination, embodying that sovereignty, and which is all yummy and lovely to really embody that illumination. So yeah, I think it's going to be great. And I also feel that the more we embody our illumination, you'll see that changes will happen in your family life, your relationship with your friends, with the relationship, of course, with yourself first and foremost. Um, and yeah, I think it's going to be freaking awesome.
Absolutely. It ripples across all timelines, right? And
Mm,
the way that I love facilitating too is like this stuff can be done in the spirit of fun and curiosity and playfulness and to self-discovery. It's like it's so often like there are parts that are a little more challenging, confronting our fears, like under like really looking at how we have responded. And that's where the power is though too, is like reconciling with how we react and then learning ways to drop in and respond from a place of like, you know, actually how you want to. And some of the most powerful healing that I've done has been in small sacred containers of other women and doing that deep work, because you know we can do a lot of work on our own, and I highly recommend it, obviously, but there's something powerful about having the mirror of other people,
right.
of other people that are journeying in that way, that are meeting you in that space, and where they feel that sense of to express from that authentic place, because there aren't many places in the world where you feel that, you know. Maybe we feel that with certain friendships, but I personally, like a lot of the women that I work with, they don't feel like they have that in their life. They don't feel like they have that actual like support where they feel like they can be their whole self. And
Mhm.
that breaks my heart. And that also was how I felt for a lot of my life, is I was seeking these sorts of connections that were genuine, that were soulful, that were depthful, that were real, where I could show up in all my, you know, imperfectness, and also all my radiance, and all my, you know, all, myself, as my silly self, as my dork, as you know, because I'm a nerd too. And like, you know, when we finally are that for ourselves, it creates space for others to meet themselves in that way. And it's just so powerful. And so we'll be dancing, we'll be singing, we'll be doing group work, we're going to do elemental ceremonies, there'll be energy healing, we're going to be working with our intuition and oracle, and just playing with these different energies to, again, like Laurel was saying, like take a really good look, because 2020 also symbolizes like the closing of a decade. You
Yeah.
know, this is not only like globally for humanity is this a major transition, but how powerful is it to realize that the work that we do on ourselves is going to ripple out across the world. And we are working with the ocean, the element of the ocean and water. We're going to also do a fire ceremony. There's going to be like a beautiful fireworks ceremony to like close out the whole thing with my beautiful friend Anjani. And yeah, it's called Freedom Snatch, which is awesome. It's so empowering for us women. So like, yeah, it's going to be fun. We're going to have beautiful high vibe foods. The accommodation, the land there is really powerful. At the retreat center, the Hero's Journey Retreat and Wellness Center. And yeah,
Very
so
powerful.
right. So yeah, you've experienced the land there too.
Yeah, very powerful. And I really love that land. It has there's a beautiful indigenous feeling there as well.
Yeah.
And I've felt their presence there. Um, and then I love the fact that it's right by a lake, beautiful lake. So, you know, it's perfect. So when it's the facilities are excellent. I love the decor. It has this very beautiful cultural ethnic African decor in some of the rooms, which I love. Um, and yeah, I think it's a space for us to really bring our gifts, combining our gifts, you know, not only for myself and Christina as facilitators, but for the participants, for the group, for the attendees to bring forth your gifts and to embrace who you are. And then a part of the energy healing for myself that I will be bringing in is some of that cosmic alignment. So really aligning ourselves with the cosmos, with galactic energy healing, something that I really enjoy doing. And so what that really entails is activating certain symbols that are intuitively shown to me and helping the body to ascend to those frequencies and creating this intertwining alignment of sacred cosmic order within our bodies.
So powerful. Yeah, we're really excited about it, and I love that. It's like when we journey through self-discovery, and we call in all of our pieces, and we start to work with these tools and live life in a kind of in a sacred way of how we're relating to our experience, and start to show up for ourselves, we can embody that illumination, and we can start to, I love that you coined that piece for yourself of what you've been recognizing is that radiating, right? Like when you are embodying in that, if you're residing in that space of personal power, it emanates, it radiates, it projects in such a powerful way, so that no matter what's going on around you, that you're unshakable, you're just anchored, you're there, you're a beacon of that light. And it takes it, for me, it took years of a lot of deep inner work. And that's why I'm also so passionate about this work of creating spaces for people to meet themselves, to find that power, to watch that spark go on is my greatest joy. To watch people light up and get so excited, and to feel that energy flow through them, and to access that power for themselves. Like that's what I feel like why I went through a lot of the hardships and the difficulties and the adversities that I did, to have the ability to watch, to create spaces for people to do that. Like that's so it brings me so much joy and happiness. So
it does bring a lot of joy for me as well, to hold space for people to hold space for others with their own unfolding. I don't see myself necessarily as one carrying all the knowledge for someone, but I see myself as one, and I know this is the same for you, really holding space for people to remember the wisdom that they already have within their bodies. I felt so called now to maybe probably
yes, please,
so that we could end off with a card pull. This is from the Ask Your Guides deck. It's oracle cards from Sonia Shaket. And so we're really setting this intention for the collective, this in terms of what our guides have to share with us in this moment. No, the card, this is such a perfect card. Celebration and joy, which is what we were just talking about really holding that space, which really gives us joy. And I think this is for the collective, and this is what I'm really feeling for this is really tuning in with what brings you joy today. So that could, a process of doing so is really thinking about it. What brings me joy? What brings my inner child joy in this moment? Is it going for a walk? Is it going for a run? Is it just being goofy? Is it having your favorite candy today, in the moderate portions? But what is it that brings you joy today? And really allowing yourself to sit in that space, be in that space of joy, and celebrating who you are is what we are being invited to. Yeah, this is what we're being invited to really sit into, and reaping the rewards from reaping the rewards from from that which gives you joy, right? So what that means is that participating in something that brings you joy and really just seeping up that energy of happiness, that energy of joy from that practice or whatever you choose to do today.
Yay!
Yes.
That was incredible.
Yeah, very timely card. And I'm very excited to have our group in November. We have very limited spots. So if you feel called to be a part of this space, please send us a direct message or check out the events page, which is on Facebook. Um, and yeah, if there's any questions, you can reach out to myself privately or Christina privately. Um, it will be awesome. And if you have any questions about the Embodying Your Power meditation program, you can also reach out to me. I am on Instagram. My Instagram is L Sabur. And my Facebook page is Oluchi Nayaa Lifestyles with Laurel Sabur. And you can also find me on my website, which is www.nayaa.ca. Any of those mediums are ways you can reach out to me. I'm quite responsive. So in whatever ways you want to reach out to me, I'll be happy to respond to you.
Wonderful. And I'll also, for anybody watching the video in the group, whether it's in the group or on YouTube, it'll also, all that stuff will be in the comments below. So ways to stay connected with her, all of her social media links. We'll post the event link, and then ways to get in contact with her for the programs that she's offering. And if you want to book a reading or a session with her, all that information will be down there with her little bit of a bio. And yeah, thank you so much, Laurel. That was a really beautiful conversation. I always love connecting with you. Yeah, it's so good.
Connecting with you.
Yeah, it's exciting. Like these are exciting times. Again, like this is the opportunity for us to really build that solid foundation. Like, how do we want to close out all of this, all of these loose ends, and kind of bring it into that beautiful synergy and have that foundation where we can rock it into have it and anchor and feel that strength, right? Like, and that's something that immediately drew me to you of the work that you do. So it's timely, it's divinely inspired and orchestrated, and so excited for everything that you're doing and all that you're launching and all that you're supporting. And you are a bridge creator of the worlds, like not only of the realms but of the world. So like the work that you're doing is having positive impact in communities around the world, and just learning some of those aspects of like with fashion and like that really inspired me to like take a better look at so much of my life. You know, I've always really been conscientious of where things come from, but even more so now with clothing. And like there's so everybody, Laurel is incredible. She's doing some really cool work, so please connect with her and support that greater vision, because it's bridging and creating more awareness and sustainability, and like just there's so much beauty going on with the work that you're doing. So
thank you so much, Christina. Yeah, because I think we're all connected by the subtle frequencies of energy. No matter what part of the world you are in, we are connected to you. So with all of that, I want to say from my heart to yours, Christina, and to all those who are listening, mwah, love you so very much, and looking forward to connecting with you soon.
And may we celebrate and have our joyful expression.
Absolutely. So
Oh, so wonderful. Thank you everybody for watching. Again, my beautiful guest Laurel and myself. My name is Christina Marie, and I am the host and founder of Magic Weavers Wisdom Keepers, and it's a platform where we talk about topics that really matter, topics, and have heartfelt discussions that are soul driven, that are inspiring about the spiritual journey of really what ways can we like really connect with ourselves, feel that sense of power, and navigate in what it means to be a human in these days. So thank you for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you again in the near future. I'm sending you guys all so much love, and I hope that you have the most magical, serendipitous, beautiful day. Until next time.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.